So the first new thing this week is the Campus Spirit projects, which is basically a collaboration between Student Senate and the Alumni Association at the university to fund and pay for banners, like UNH banners, to put up around campus. And the main reasoning for this was, if you look around UNH, you really don't know it's UNH. If you get dropped in the middle of campus, you could walk around a while before you see anything that actually says UNH. So we kind of want to change that. So it's more like a campus, like we care. This is UNH. We're awesome. So what we're doing is we're working on banners. We're going to be working on a few other things, but this is where we're starting, is with awesome banners. So I will go ahead and read this off for you guys. So this is Resolution 16, UNH Campus Spirit Projects, introduced by the External Affairs Council and the Campus Structure Council. Whereas the brand of the University of New Hampshire is not effectively presented across much of its own campus, and whereas school brand recognition and affiliation is essential to achieving a high degree of school pride and spirit, and whereas school pride and involvement is essential to the enhancing community and alumni relations, and whereas strengthening community and alumni relations has the potential to induce further support from alumni through both monetary and non-monetary contributions, and whereas the use of University of New Hampshire school banners on campus would foster a higher level of school spirit and awareness among students and in the surrounding community, and whereas there are places on campus that could be utilized to promote school spirit, such as the light post, street signs, open areas on Main Street, and other high traffic areas which are not currently used in such a manner, and whereas the University of New Hampshire Alumni Association has expressed their interest to fund such a project, therefore be it resolved by the Student Senate of the University of New Hampshire to coordinate with the UNH Alumni Association to design, produce, and place University of New Hampshire banners around the University of New Hampshire campus. So that's that one, and so let us know what you guys think of that. Definitely. The next thing that we will be voting on this week and discussing is regarding Student Senate records. So our agendas, our minutes, and all of the stuff that we keep from each year. So right now, these records are sitting in big binders on a shelf in the Student Senate office, which many of you may not have known, but at the same time, you can't all get into the Student Senate office because it's locked. So they're not really accessible to the public. So what we're looking to do is to bring them out of the Student Senate office, so we have a little more room in here, and put them into the university archives in the library, so anyone can see them, and anyone can access them whenever they want. And eventually, we hope to work with the library to digitize these, so they'd be available online. The more recent ones are already digitized and would already be available online, like instantly, which is really exciting. So I'll go ahead and read this one off for you guys, if I can find the right pages. So, Student Senate, Session 33, Resolution 17, Student Senate Records, introduced by Brett Branscombe, Hubbard II. Whereas it is important to preserve the history of our organization, and whereas the transparency of records is essential to the efficient and honest operation of a governing body, and whereas providing public access to such records would serve to better inform both our members and our constituents, and whereas the preservation of such records is important and valuable for the research of and the reference of future UNH Student Senate sessions, as well as alumni and other interested parties, and whereas the current record of our past sessions are disorganized, not accessible to the public, and not conducive to effective and productive research reference, and whereas the records are held in the UNH Senate office, which is a limited space and cannot hold all of the records of our past and future sessions, and whereas the University Archives in the Special Collections Department of Diamond Library, quote, collects, preserves, and makes available resources documenting the history of the University of New Hampshire, end quote, and whereas digital records can be made readily accessible through Diamond Library's online archives, therefore, be it resolved by the Student Senate of the University of New Hampshire to do the following in order to improve the storage and accessibility of its session records. 1. To begin the process of digitizing our past records with the help of the Diamond Library, to be completed over the next few years. 2, to relocate our past section records into the university archives to be processed and held for public access. 3, to provide the university archives with a digital session record for each future session to be added to the library's digital collections. So that's that one. And as you might have noticed, that was my resolution, which is really exciting because, well, it's exciting. So I'm excited for Sunday. So I met with the library, and they were excited to the idea of having our records there, because apparently alumni come back from time to time and want to know what Student Senate did. So that's kind of cool. And I don't know if you've been in the special collection part of the library, but they have moving bookshelves, like giant moving bookshelves, and it's pretty exciting. So I think it would be cool to have Student Senate records there. Let me know what you guys think, if you have a particular opinion on this. And yeah, so fun times. And the last thing we will be voting on this week is Resolution 18, Faculty Senate Minutes. So basically, the Faculty Senate hasn't posted its minutes on its website in a few months, and they've had a few meetings. They meet every other week, so they haven't had a ton, but they've had a few meetings, and we haven't been able to see what they're doing, which helps us with what we're doing. So we know the types of things they're doing, we know what their opinions are, so we can work off of that. So we really want to be able to have those so we can do that, and we have not for the last short period of time. So this resolution would basically just ask them to make their minutes available in a more timely manner. So this is Resolution 18, introduced by first-year Senator Brian Merrill. Whereas the University of New Hampshire Student Senate and the University of New Hampshire Faculty Senate share similar goals of improving the University of New Hampshire, UNH, and whereas many issues that are discussed and voted on in the UNH Faculty Senate are relevant to the Student Senate and its constituents, and whereas increased transparency would facilitate increased cooperation between UNH Student Senate and the UNH Faculty Senate, and whereas although the UNH Faculty Senate communicates certain UNH Faculty Senate issues to the UNH Student Senate via unmediated communication with Dr. Rubenstein, the student body president, and the student body vice president, the UNH Student Senate does not receive a complete report of the UNH Faculty Senate's meeting minutes due to information being summarized and or non-empirical, and whereas all members of the Student Senate should have access to the aforementioned information in a complete empirical form, and whereas an increase in shared empirical information, specifically in the form of UNH Faculty Senate meeting minutes, would contribute to the increased transparency we seek, and whereas the UNH Faculty Senate has not publicly posted its minutes on its site since November 28, 2011, and whereas a gap of almost 3 months without extensive information about UNH Faculty Senate proceedings is considerable, constituting UNH Student Senate meetings and UNH Faculty Senate meetings without empirical input from the Faculty Senate in the form of minutes. And whereas the posting of UNH faculty minutes on its website would be a simple task that would benefit to the UNH Student Senate, the UNH Faculty Senate, and all involved constituents. Therefore, be it resolved by the Student Senate of the University of New Hampshire to politely request that the UNH Faculty Senate that they upload its meeting minutes in a more timely fashion to facilitate transparency, cooperation, and increased efficiency in benefiting our constituents. And I'm sorry, I can't read. I don't know why. It's late. It's a snow day. It's not really late. It's like 3 p.m. But so there were a couple of question marks in there, and for those of you who are like, whoa, why are there question marks? We are looking up exactly how many meetings they've had and exactly how many meetings we've had since that time, November 28th. So they're question marks right now. They will be filled in on the floor. 3 months, I think it's been about 8 meetings or so for us, which means it's about 4 for them, because they meet every other week and we meet every week. So yeah, let us know what you think about that, if you think about that. So yeah, and feel free to stop by the Senate office, because it's actually a pretty cool place. And you might not get into this room, unless one of us is here, which there is pretty often. Usually someone's in here. But there's a nice little open area, and you can kind of wander around and be like, "Hi, Senate people, what's up?" And you can talk to them. It's a crazy idea, but you should do it sometime. Definitely.